Hello, Jess Too Good here, and today I'm doing a very special Throwback Thursday. Today we're reviewing the LEGO Spongebob 2006 set, Adventures in Bikini Bottom. It has 579 pieces, retailed for $40 in the United States. This is an open box because it was donated by my friend Carolina.
That's me.
And now let's take a look at the minifigures. So the first minifigure is SpongeBob, and yeah, this one was definitely played with. You can see it's fading away, but that's okay. The molding for this is actually a piece that kind of goes over the torso, and he does use short legs, which I think this was the first minifigure to have short legs. And you can see once you remove this, it's really just a plain yellow LEGO minifigure torso. And for Patrick, you can see a little bit of fading on the front kind of smile. But other than that, I mean, they use a flesh, which some may say is a little bit lighter than the pink. And I understand that. Either way, he does have this nice kind of printing for his swim trunks on his legs. This was actually the only way to get him in 2006, which is quite interesting. And last of the minifigures is Squidward, which of course made it on the creepiest LEGO sets and minifigures list, because that molded head just makes it look so much better. But when it's not molded, oh my gosh, it looks so ugly. Either way, there's no back printing or anything, and it just does not look like Squidward. It just looks super creepy with those dead eyes. Okay, so yeah, we covered all the minifigures, but what about Gary? Gary is actually a little bit of a brick-built animal. You can see they use a 1x2 tile on the base, and also they use these printed dish pieces, which look beautiful. I love the design of that. Only part I don't like about Gary is the fact that he's a green here, even though in the show he's more of a blue, and also he doesn't have printing for his eyes. But I do like how they use the cherry pieces for the eyes. I think that's actually really clever heart usage. So now let's get on to the build of the set. Alright, so here's the complete build of the set. There's also some stuff inside SpongeBob's house, and since that's the main part, let's take a look at SpongeBob's house first. Alright, so before we get into the pineapple house, keep in mind we're missing just a little bit of pieces in here. I'll point out which ones. But the actual design of this is so cool. So what they used were some hinge pieces, and you could see that would be it all, kind of taken apart. But you just kind of put it in this certain form where it looks very round, and I really like how that came out. And you could just kind of turn it around to see what's inside and play around with the stuff inside there. Alright, so with that inside look, this part right here is missing a paddle piece, but what would actually be put there is a plain round orange basketball. And those you would just kind of drop inside this hoop. And this hoop right here, I actually like how it has that kind of orange rimming on there. That's really cool to get that outside the NBA line. And my favorite part of this inside of the house, besides the house design itself, is this little bed, which has a nice play feature. So basically, you would pull off this side right here, and it would launch SpongeBob just like that. So let's get another look at that. So that works pretty well, and I like the printed 1x2 pillow piece. That is so cool. And that only came in this set. And right here, it may look a little bit incomplete because we are missing a piece there. It's a little circular 2x2 tile that has kind of this little life raft design. That one, from my understanding, isn't exclusive to this set, but it still would have been nice to get. And just the design of this bed is pretty accurate to the TV show, so I like how that came out. And then this right here is a little ladder that you would go so that SpongeBob could be put up here and he could jump into his bed, sort of like in the show. And you can just kind of stick Gary around here. And also one last thing that I really do appreciate about the pineapple design is the use of these printed windows, which are printed on a translucent panel. And they actually look pretty cool on how they do that because they actually print on some of the orange, which is quite interesting. A few more details include the front door, which has one of these kind of little steering wheel designs for like a pirate ship, and you can open it just like that. And on top, of course, we do have this nice kind of pineapple design with the leaf. One part I don't like is that this is very prone to falling off, so you gotta be a little bit careful with it, but it's no big deal because it is a very intricate round design. So that's it for the design of the pineapple house, and now let's go on to Squidward's house. Next up is Squidward's Moai Easter Island house, and this design actually uses a pretty rare piece underneath, and what they use is one of those, I think it was a 4 Juniors type design. You can see it right here. This is one whole mold. And they just kind of cover it with various pieces in this gray coloring. And then we have this door, which is, I think, from this Harry Potter line. And that just kind of opens up like that. And you're going to be kind of disappointed with the inside because the inside, it's a little bit lacking. The bottom part right here is nice because there is a little bit of a walkway going on. But when you get to the top design, there's really no space for Squidward to paint. And I think this is something they fixed with the 2012 version. But rather, they use a little play feature for this. And what you would do is launch Jellyfish to kind of knock out the eyes. And we'll get to that once we cover the Jellyfish launcher. But that is it for Squidward's house. I do like how it is sort of in proportion with SpongeBob's house because you can see they're a very similar height. Now let's go on to Patrick's house. So here's Patrick's house, and I really like this design. I see this design always getting a lot of flack, but I get why they did it so that it opens up in the middle like this, because there's just really no way that you could have one that opens up top to bottom and have this much space to play around with. Now the part that is kind of annoying is that it's not that brown color, that rusty brown color, and even this part isn't that brownish color. But I guess it was because of piece limitations back then for these big ugly rock pieces, as people call them. Either way, there's a lot of cool designs in here. I love, love, love this 1x2 printed TV right here on a brick. That is a very useful print that only came in this set, so I'm probably going to bricklink that because that is amazing. And then right here, you do have a little coffee cup for Patrick and a seat to put him in, which just kind of came off, but there's also a little table going on there. And of course, you can close it with Patrick inside. Let me just put this right here, and there you go. It closes perfectly like that. So it's a very cool design that I think is quite unique, and it's kind of sad that they didn't do another Patrick house. So these are the other builds of the set. We got one of my favorite builds, which is the Boatmobile. That has a pullback motor, and we'll demonstrate that in a little bit. This jellyfish launcher, a jellyfish catcher, and then a part to hold all the jellyfish. So for Patrick's Boatmobile, because you know LEGO has to shoehorn a vehicle into the set, we have this standard 4-wide design, even though I don't think Patrick's supposed to be driving. And we have this little propeller on the back, and this you could just kind of play around with, but the best part to play around with this set is that pullback motor I talked about earlier. All you have to do is pull this back, and he goes all the way off, and that is so fun to play with. That was actually something they used to do with the Mrs. Puff's boating school set from 2007. Now, the design inside the vehicle is just enough to fit one minifigure, and I mean, that's all you really need. And you can see it's just a little bit of studs right there. There's no particular seat or anything. Then you also get a steering wheel. So that's it for the Boatmobile. And for the jellyfish launching builds, we got this one that holds the jellyfish, and there's actually 7 of these jellyfish, and this is actually a little hinged container. And the jellyfish themselves are an awesome piece because they're the chef hat piece in a translucent pink color. So you can mess around and put those on minifigures as you would like. So here is Squidward wearing one which looks so funky. And for the rest of that build, you do have a little kind of handlebar right here so you could drag it around or have Patrick drag it around, and of course 4 wheels, so it is mobile. Then these 2 builds right here are meant to launch those jellyfish, so you could put one right here and launch it like that, and that actually coincides with Squidward's house, which we'll mess around with in a little bit. It's a very simple build. And then you got this one right here, which uses, I think it's a Fabuland, what is it called, a net piece, but I'm not entirely sure about that. I know it was also used in the series 15, the animal control person. And of course you could just kind of put the jellyfish in there and you could catch it, but then of course you could use it to launch like that. And let's see if we can knock those eyes out right there with the jellyfish. Like, Alright, we got it in.
Did it.
So that's it for all the stuff in the set. We'll take a look at the packaging and then the final verdict. So here's a box for this set. Very beat up, as I said in the beginning. But what I like about this and what I had to show is the little comic strip at the back. That is so cool. I love how they had that. Of course, they had the little play features, and they even have an advertisement for the other sets. We also have the Krusty Krab one that Carolina donated, and then we have this little Build a Sponge, which is actually kind of hard to find. And then the instruction booklet, yeah, it's kind of destroyed, but at least every page is still there. You can see on the back they have this old kind of advertisement for Shop at Home and free Lego catalog if you send that out. And they even have a little thing for Lego Club, which was around back then. I think that's it though. There's not much else inside here. No advertisements or anything. So overall, this 2006 version of Adventures of Bikini Bottom, I think is better than the 2009 version for sure, and maybe the 2012 version. This one actually has Patrick's house, even though it's not really accurate in terms of colors and how it opens up in the middle instead of opening up top to bottom. I still think the design of it is something that's good enough for the time it was released. Now, Squidward's house is also really fun to mess around with the eyes, where you would launch the play feature of the jellyfishes into the eyes and knock them out. But there's also lots of other cool play features. I especially like the one with SpongeBob's bed, because that's just something that's also accurate to the show, but really fun to play with, where you would, take out the Technic pin, it would launch SpongeBob. Also, of course, pullback motors, which is something LEGO doesn't do anymore. I don't get why. I love playing around with that little Boatmobile in here. In SpongeBob's house itself, for the weird kind of geometry of it in the show, they captured it pretty well, especially for a 2006 set. So I don't have too much complaints in here. And I also like the inclusion of Patrick and Gary, which this was the only way to get them back in the day. And so Carolina, since you were the original owner of this set, what do you think of it?
I would say that I'm pretty happy with it. I did get it 10 years ago when I was younger, and I played with it for several years. I really enjoy the detail in SpongeBob's house, especially on the inside. I guess my only criticism would be that Squidward's house is not very detailed at all, especially inside. Well, the outside is detailed, but I just wish there was more things to do inside the house.
And that's a very fair criticism, and I understand where you're coming from there. So yeah, that's it for the special Throwback Thursday. I don't remember what the schedule... I think next week would be maybe a Fabuland set, or no, it would just be another regular set. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye. Want to say bye?
Okay, peace out. Bye.